footy at grassroots, it is literally the foundation of our game. The reality is, though, many families can't afford a footy for their kids. Many schools lack basic equipment to allow Aussie rules in the schoolyard at lunchtime, and places where the game should be growing, like Western Sydney, in which 300,000 primary and secondary students reside, still need more exposure to the game at both home and at school. So given those few examples, why is the AFL investing in pathways and growth of grassroots in India when there's still so much work to be done all over Australia? And this is the one that really gets me. Why is the league delivering, quote, tens of thousands of sherrins and equipment to local communities in India when there are communities and schools right here in Victoria, AFL Heartland, and right across the country, either without equipment or equipment that hasn't been upgraded in decades? Now, shouldn't that be the priority, investing in those that support, play and watch the game week in, week out? And it's great to say we want to grow the Indian base. Well, how about growing it here in Australia? Ingratiate the game to Indian families here, as well as those of Chinese heritage, Southeast Asian heritage, Middle Eastern heritage. This notion of building Australian rules football into a nationally recognised sport in India, let's be brutally honest, it is a pipe dream, especially when there's still plenty of work to be done here in our own backyard. I can't believe what I was reading during the week when it came to developing the game in India. Not just taking a game there, but actually developing the game there when there's so much work to be done here.
I can. Money. One word. Plain and simple, it's money. So the issue that the AFL and by extension other sports in Australia are facing is that because we've got such a saturation of codes in Australia, they're all competing for a small pool of sponsorship dollars available in Australia. So now they're thinking, this is getting hard. You know, the money that we can find in Australia, potentially there's not many other avenues that we can find the money. So we're going to look overseas. We're going to look somewhere that has a lot of people, that has a lot of money, India. And so that's the reason, in my mind, it's pretty obvious why they're doing it. Does that mean they shouldn't be investing further in grassroots football in Australia? No, it doesn't. But if you can get money out of an international market, which by extension then helps you here, then I can see why they're doing it.
Oh, I'm with you, Shane. When I first heard it, I thought, wow, well, it's not going to become a big sport in India, is it? Let's be honest, they're cricket mad over there. Most of the Indians I know love their cricket. There's no doubt about that. And my first thought is just worry about keeping the money here and keeping it in grassroots footy. But I can see what you're saying too, Laura, if they think they can get some big sponsorship money out of India.
But that's what it'll be. I mean, I don't think anyone thinks that there's going to be a football side in India that takes part in our competition. But they need to get dollars from somewhere else, and it is becoming increasingly harder to do that here.
But why are we developing pathways in India? I don't mind taking a game. I mean, I still think that's a waste of time.
Well, they tried that in China and it didn't work.
But why are we developing pathways when there are significant pathways still to be developed in Western Sydney? There are significant pathways.
Do they need the money to develop in Western Sydney?
Are we honest? Do we honestly believe that the people of India, a country with a population in excess of 1 billion, and they want 100,000 people playing this game, that is going to capture a nation that is cricket mad, kabaddi mad, field hockey mad? I mean, it is to think that Aussie rules is going to become a nationally recognised sport in India. I'm sorry, it is absolutely farcical, and I find it disrespectful to those that watch, support and play the game week in, week out, right here, pay hard-earned money to their clubs and the AFL. By the way, we're going to give away tens of thousands of sherrins, but we're going to give them to people in Mumbai as opposed to people in Parramatta.
If you could get more clarity, though, on what that meant commercially for the AFL and the spend that they could then, by extension, use here,
they need to be
would you care as much?
Do they need to be transparent about that then, what the potential is there? So that then when we go to debate
you're more on board
these
with
things,
it.
well, then you know what you're dealing with. If it means they're going to bring in, I don't know, X amount of millions of dollars, and then that means that you're going to pour a lot of that money into Western Sydney or other regions in Australia they feel that they still need to develop, then maybe you'd go, okay, I can see why you might be doing that because you need the money so you can further develop it in Western Sydney, because that's a big problem out there at the moment, isn't it? I mean, we're hearing earlier this year I know Gerard Healy wrote an article about it and the participation levels out there in Western Sydney, and that it wasn't really growing the way they wanted to. So that's an area we've got to focus on. So I think maybe they need to be transparent about exactly how many dollars that it can bring in.
Well, there's 1 million Indian-born residents in Australia. Wouldn't you think that you would spend the money trying to get them converted totally over instead of the cricket, soccer, whatever they play, to say, let's dominate the 1 million Indians in Australia now, who are residents of Australia?
But you're looking at it in conversion of Indians to AFL players. That's not what this is.
Your argument's totally different.
It's commercial.
Yeah,
it's got nothing to do
playing
with...
the game there is commercial. Developing pathways...
sponsorships as well.
But developing pathways is very different to playing a game there.
It's to get an appetite for people for the game. But that's not necessarily, are you going to find the next Brownlow medalist in India?
But you didn't let me finish here, because you're telling me that you can't see a little bit of a political influence on what this decision's about how it impacts from here to Australia, to voting, to things like that. It's a conspiracy theory, but let me tell you, there's been some influence on the AFL to say, all right, we go over there. And I wouldn't be surprised if deals haven't already been done, like you're saying, about money coming in through sponsors. Now, what would the sponsors over there know about Australian rules footy? How are they going to sponsor Australia? It's like a car manufacturer. You know, if you build in Australia or you build anywhere, but you're big over here, you will sponsor something to get your name out there. So what company in India would ever think about doing it other than AFL going over there for that reason? They have to do it for a reason. The AFL is doing it, like you say, because they already probably know there's already sponsors over there that have either been set up through something else, but it all pays back to come back to a political background, I reckon. I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I don't see any other reason other than that happening and already done. Nearly agreeing with what you're saying about the dough.
Well, Andrew Dillon met the Indian Prime Minister, so yeah, there is a political element to it. There is.
I can't look. It stands out like anything to me that it is that going down that track. It's wrong. But it's the way of the world.
Andrew Dillon needs to be stronger, and this is where he needs to go. It is not all about the dollars. It is about the perception of this game. And the AFL is at the heart of it, a not-for-profit organisation. It's about supporting and putting money back into grassroots and putting it into the community. By taking Sherins, tens of thousands, and equipment, and sending it to Mumbai, to Chennai, to New Delhi, that is not supporting the grassroots of Australian rules football. That is not enhancing it in Western Sydney. It is not enhancing it in Tasmania, where they're about to launch a new franchise.
It's funny you mentioned Tassie.
These are the places where you need to be sending footies. And you look at government schools.
Shane, this is a veil. It's a veil
government schools in this state,
It's a means to an end.
Exactly.
Government schools in this state don't have footies.
So just to give you an example of that, I know when Tassie were going around, this is a little while ago now, when the Devils was first being set up, and they were going around Tassie doing road shows to get the support of local communities. Come on, jump in. This is what the Devils are going to bring. They'd go and do these road shows in small towns all around Tasmania. And a lot of the questions at the end of the whole thing were, we need to get more footies. Like, they were just blown away. Like, we're trying to talk about getting an AFL team here. And a lot of these little clubs were saying we need to get more footies. That was how simple and how desperate they were just to get some footies.
Well, those footies are going to go to Mumbai.
I know.
It's an amazing thing that we've just spent $300 million of a government Australian super fund into India. We don't know what we're getting back now. This is and the timing of it, mate, is incredible. I'm serious. You just sold uranium to, and we just had the Indian Prime Minister over here. We just had the AFL head honcho.
Say it, Richo.
Don't go back to the small modular reactors, Tony.
No, I'm all right. All right.
Well, I just want to play this audio, though. This is last night, early in the match, when, again, that rain was sheeting down. Jack Ginnivan had the footy right on 50, looked to feign a handball. Adam Chera was on the mark. He was standing on the mark. Have a listen to umpire Matt Stevick.
Stand. Stay clear. Stand at it. Play. Stand. Play.
All right, so umpire Matt Stevick, you can hear him say play
twice.
In the vision, you can also see his arms go up about halfway to signal play on. He then awards a 50-metre penalty to Jack Ginnivan because Adam Chera has come off the mark when he was told to stand. Jack Ginnivan gets a 50-metre penalty, kicks the goal. Now, we've been told that as soon as you feign that handball, that is play on and should have been picked up last night.
No, that's not. You can feign a handball.
No, because we then saw it with Mitch McGovern. As soon as you feign that handball as if you are going to play on, that is meant to be the call to play on.
Never heard that in my life. It was more that you can feign the handball, but if you go off the line at any time sideways, that is play on. But look, let's get it right. The umpy got it really wrong. He's a senior umpire, probably hardly made any mistakes in his life in a lot, but they've got to come out and say that it was wrong.
But another reason why the stand rule just causes issues in our game, it's just giving the umpires too much to think about at any given time.
Yeah.
But in that situation where you've yelled play twice and then you deny that you've said play on, like, why?
You just made a mistake.
That's confusing in those conditions. You can't hear anything.
It was like it's exactly the same thing as say move it on. Like I know it doesn't sound like play on, of course, but when you've got crowd and you're in the heat of the game, why do you have to tell someone that you're going to have to get ready to kick it? All you got to do is call play on. That's all you got to call. You don't have to call move it on, and warn them.
Exactly.
You just got to say play on. And look, he got it horribly wrong. Now the AFL just should come out and say we got it wrong.
I don't know why he would know though. He's senior enough to know that he got it wrong.
He made a mistake.
Yeah,
why wouldn't he rectify it in the moment though? You can.
Yeah, maybe he didn't.
They don't. But
a bit of self-preservation, of course.
And you're right, Shorey. It's feigning the handball, and then if you step off, you're line, and that's the clarification.
This is another reason why, at the end of the year, they must sit down and simplify this whole stand nonsense. No one likes it. It's harder for the umpires. Let's just admit we got it wrong.
But now, okay, we've been talking about this for a long time, and I know it's a bit boring in some way, but even our listeners, how do we rectify it? We've had people talk. We know other commentators hate it. You can hear it and the confused. How can they get it back, Richo, to a point? And we need now the rectification of it, and we need to know
common sense. If you move a foot one way or a foot the other way, that's fine.
But last night he could have applied common sense, the umpire, in that exchange.
And just called it back.
And he didn't.
But you go with what you believe, don't you?
As long as you're not going over the mark, if you move a foot either side, who cares? You're not, as long as you're not standing inboard.
But then you know what's going to happen with the foot. And I understand. I'm trying to get. We've talked about it. So how do we get this better? And like I said, there might be some of our listeners out there who want to get back on it. But
it should be the player's decision if you want to stand the mark.
We should have a good think about it the next time we come back here next week and say, okay, this is what I thought.
If you don't want to stand the mark, you shouldn't have to.
Why? No, I agree. I
mean, if you want to let the player play on, let him play on. If you don't choose to stand the mark.
Can I just say, just on Matt Stevic last night, I mean, he's one of the most experienced umpires out there. He made a mistake, but the fact is that I've heard a lot of media commentary about it in the last 13 hours. Yeah. The number of mistakes made by players last night in that heaving rain. I made mistakes as a commentator last night because it was so hard to see. He made a mistake in those conditions.
Hold on. That's not got nothing to do with that.
No, but I'm saying he made a mistake. Let's give him the mulligan on this.
On that one?
Yeah, on that decision last night. It was an error, but there is so much focus on it.
No, but it cost a goal. And
they lost by 64 points.
Yeah, but it's easy. That then gives it an out.
But I don't know what the conditions, you just said the conditions were like that last night.
I thought the conditions were hard to officiate in as well, Shorey.
Yeah, but it's not hard to officiate a bloke standing the mark and he doesn't...
All I'm saying is that in the sheeting rain...
I think you're saying
did he have water in his eyes?
I think you're saying overall it was a hard night.
Let's not give him any leeway.
I think I have just said he has been a great umpire. Yeah. He's made a mistake. And I'm just come out and say he's made a mistake and let bygones be bygones.
But he would have known he's made a mistake. I feel like in that moment...
You reckon he should be able to pull it back like that?
No, I just think in that moment it would have been obvious that he'd made a mistake, and you can't expect a player in those conditions to understand that you've said play, not play on.
We say that sitting up here, but an umpire who's in self-preservation mode in a lot of ways that they don't want to do that in a game to say that they've made a mistake. They make 100 adjudication mistakes, but that's
a bad one, though.
It was. I'm with you,
really bad one.
I don't know how many times they've brought it back other than looking at the arc and, seeing what happened.